back at it again. We're back at the home studios of the show. As you can see, with an entirely... I'm not going to try and do much point in moving because it would be a load of focusing and it would probably get blurry. I don't want to deal with it. But we got the updated banner. Today's episode brought to you by 508 Performance, Strength, and Conditioning, a new gym that's going to be opened up in the south end of Massachusetts soon. And also Know Yourself Clothing. So both bringing this episode to you, but like I said, added backdrop at school as well as here. I'm much more of a fan of this one. We get The Last Shot, Jerry Maguire, Hamilton Porter, Conor McGregor's, autographed Mike Allstott, Goodwill Hunting. Much bigger fan of what we got going on here than at school. But I mean, hey, make do with what I got to do with, right? So, a couple things this episode. The Quinlan episode delayed to this weekend. We're going to react to the championship Sunday games. We're also going to respond to a couple questions that were sent in for Ryan as well. Much like the Cam Rogers episode that had so much success. Again, another guest. And we're gonna have some more questions for him from the text line. So if you still would like to send in a text or call or have any questions for Ryan, the number is up there for you to do so. Definitely encourage doing that. But I got some NBA MVP talk, as well as I'm going to preview some of these games this weekend as well. And a little bit of this Steph Curry throw the mouth guard thing was a little out of line for Stephen Curry. But, we're going to address that a little bit. That's really all I got for you on this one. Another brief one leading into the Sunday championship games. It's about 6:30 on Saturday night as I come to you right now. Thinking about doing it live. I'm going to keep it like this. I'm going to post it up, and we're going to leave it on throughout the day tomorrow. So if you want to make your betting picks, that's the big thing, to get it out there for the betting picks. But also the NBA MVP talk. We're going to talk about that as well, too, because Joel Embiid just had a giant game tonight. Jokic, obviously, he did it against Jokic, did it against the guy who's supposed to be the favorite for MVP right now. You take him away from that team, they really have nothing. He's almost averaging a triple-double. Would round up to do so. But Embiid, I'm pretty sure, put together a 45-point performance tonight, which, obviously pretty big deal, all things considered, in that MVP race. I think we'll look at the stats specifically for Joel Embiid, but it was a huge night for the center for the Philadelphia 76ers. And I don't think he's the clear-cut favorite for me, personally. I just don't think it's Jayson Tatum. And here come the Celtics fans. They're gonna be all over this one. Embiid, 47 points, 18 rebounds, and 4 of 7 from 3, 2 blocks, 3 steals. Monumental night. Big W over the Nuggets. Just I don't see Tatum being the MVP. I don't see it for a number of reasons. I don't see it for a number of reasons. I mean, here's the thing: is everybody has considered Jaylen Brown into this MVP conversation. Maybe not totally, but he's been up there in the rankings. Certainly going to end up in the top 10 considering his efficiency, what he means to the Celtics team, and that's the big thing, right? Is that they're going to give the MVP to a successful team. The Celtics 35-15, arguably the best in the league. I mean, the Sixers just put up a great performance. 2 games back of Boston as they continue to hit this skid. Huge performance over the number 1 team in the West, which is the Denver Nuggets. So that's the big thing with MVP. You have to think of value in terms of winning and the team being good. But we also have to assign some value in terms of if you took that player off that team, how much worse off would that team be? First and foremost, the Dallas Mavericks, if you take Luka Doncic off of the Dallas Mavericks, who are currently 26-24 and barely scrapping by at 500. If you took a guy who was averaging 33 points, 9 rebounds, 8.4 assists, doing it with almost a 50% percentage from the field, 35 from 3, and a player efficiency of about 29.8 as a guard, I think 8 win shares is worth 8 wins. So what are we talking about here? If you take Luka Doncic off of the Mavericks, they are 8. I mean, the numbers, the stat will disagree with you there. This is a 10-win basketball team if you don't have Luka Doncic. It's unreal. It's absolutely unreal to think otherwise. Embiid, are they much worse off without Embiid? Absolutely. They're much worse off. The Nuggets without Nikola Jokic? Absolutely. Are the Celtics worse off without Jaylen Brown? Or are the Celtics worse off without Jayson Tatum, for that matter? Yes. But are they as worse off as these other teams if you take away these players? Absolutely not. If you have 2 MVPs, you have none. Because if you like the way now here's the thing: if your MVP award is the best player award, it's not. It's the most valuable player award, and that to me is your value to your team and your value overall in comparison. So, yeah, you're gonna have to pay for the fact that you're surrounded by really good teammates, because that should make you a better basketball player. You don't have to deal with these other guys deal with double teams and different defensive looks because they don't have as good of a surrounding cast. It does influence your value. It does influence the level in which you're playing at. I mean, that's any team. It's any team sport. But yeah, Jayson Tatum, you take him off the Celtics. Are they the 1 seed in the East? Absolutely not. Absolutely not the 1 seed in the East. But are they a 10-win team like I think the Dallas Mavericks would be? No. I think if you take Jayson Tatum off the team, they're probably a 5 or a 6 seed in the East. It's the same thing if you take away Jaylen Brown. You take away Jaylen Brown, they're probably 4 or 5 seed in the East. I think Brown's better than Tatum better than Brown. But then again, Brown seems like he's a little more mature later in those games. I mean, Tatum just throwing away passes when he gets double-teamed, no timeouts being taken, defensive switches were absolutely atrocious against the Miami Heat in that second game. It's just, again, these are some issues. I mean, I posted it, and everybody just thinks I'm this big Celtics hater. But, the way that I see it is this is a continued issue we've seen with Jayson Tatum and how he just throws away the ball late in games. He just turns the ball over. Of course, Marcus Smart not present, who's really, considered the leader of the Celtics team. But again, he's not good enough to be that true leader. You need a guy that can step up and make shots as well as command that respect. And I think Jaylen Brown tries to be that, but I don't think he's as good as Jayson Tatum. But Jayson Tatum can't do it in those moments. So there's still a lack of nuts. There's a lack of balls, of gut, of character on this Celtics team. They don't have it within. They don't have the soul power. They just don't have the intestinal fortitude. They don't have it. They do not have it. This is where we start to throw around the word. And at this point, I just got to get a sound effect for it, right? This we very well could be looking at a fraudulent basketball team in the Boston Celtics. We very well could be looking at a fraudulent. No, listen, Brogdon was out for personal reasons. Smart was injured. The Knicks lost. Brogdon was present for. Very well could be looking at a fraudulent Celtics basketball team. But yeah, Tatum, not a fan. Not a fan of. Of course, everybody's like, "Oh, you're never a fan of Tatum." But if you have 2 MVPs, you have none, and that is my big takeaway from this is that if you take Jayson Tatum off of the Boston Celtics, they're still a very good basketball team. I don't know if they're a title contender, but there's other guys that if you took like Jokic, Embiid, Giannis off of their current teams, even Giannis the injury, they would fall off the face of the earth over that period of time if they just weren't there. So like I don't see how you can have 2 guys competing for MVP, because clearly if you lose one, you're not going to be that much worse off than some of the other teams like Luka Doncic, the Dallas Mavericks. Let me go down the Dallas Mavericks roster real quick for anybody who is unfamiliar. I'm sure you know the name Luka Doncic. He is fantastic. He's a fantastic basketball player. Has been since he entered the league. But I'm going to go down the roster for you. We're going to look through the stats. So points based off points per game, we're going to go down the list. 33 points per game, Luka Doncic. Christian Wood, 18.4 points per game. Christian Wood, solid 4-5 player. He has 8.4 rebounds per game. Not the best big man, but he's not a bad piece to have, like as a 4th player in your rotation. Maybe a 3rd. Spencer Dinwiddie, 17.3 per game. Tim Hardaway Jr., 13.8 points per game. Dorian Finney-Smith, 8.8. Then you had Kemba for a couple games there. Josh Green, 7.6. Dwight Powell, 6.7. Maxi Kleber, the games that he's played in, 6.2 points per game. Reggie Bullock, former Knick, 6.2 points per game. Jaden Hardy, 5.8. Davis Bertans, 4.2. JaVale McGee, 3.9. Frank Ntilikina with a whopping 2.7. That was a great Knicks pick, man. There's so much potential there. But you see what I'm saying? And Luka's doing it pretty efficiently. To shoot 50% from the field with as many shots he takes, it's impressive. I don't play the best defense, might be the most conditioned player, but that's my pick, man. You take Luka away from the Mavericks, there's nothing. They would not even come close to competing without Luka Doncic. And you can look at Giannis, you can look at Joel Embiid. If you want to look at, truthfully, only the 1s and 2 seeds in the conferences, because, how valuable can you be for teams not doing that well? Well, Joel Embiid's averaging 33 points, almost 10 rebounds, 4 assists. And the knocking him out of the All-Star game starters is crazy. That is absolutely absurd to me. How do you look at this guy and knock him out of the starters because you want to make sure Tatum and Giannis, he's above Tatum in the voting, because it's between Tatum and Durant, right? We'll just take Embiid out and put Giannis the 5. That is, what? He's a true 5. Should be the front runner for the MVP award now because he just beat Jokic in a huge game. Clearly outperformed him. And you're trying to toss him out of the starters? He's second in MVP voting. Allegedly. I mean, wherever you're looking at here. Right? But he's top 3 in MVP voting. You're going to boot him from the starting lineup? Durant's not in there. Durant doesn't make the starting lineup. But Durant has to be the captain. So it's the hate for Joel Embiid is so strange to me. He's such a skilled and impressive player. I don't understand. He plays defense. I don't understand it. He does it with efficiency, a 30.6 PER, which is higher than Jayson Tatum's by about 5 points. Lucas is right up there with him. Jaylen Brown's is 10 points lower than Embiid's. And then Jokic is going to be up there with the PER that's 2 points higher than his as well, almost averaging a triple-double with lower points per game. So, yeah, Jokic, Embiid, Doncic. But Tatum and Jaylen Brown do not deserve to be in that conversation. And I'm saying the main thing is just because they feed off each other in terms of value. In terms of playing together, if you take one away, it doesn't totally kill a team because the other one is obviously so good. But obviously it influences how good they can be together at the same time. But at the end of the day, I still don't think that they have enough character. They don't have enough championship pedigree and character within to win a championship this year. And I think you've seen it in these recent games for the Celtics. It's one of the big reasons why I still don't see Jayson Tatum as an MVP. But your ability to come through the clutch, I guess, has nothing to do with MVP. It only has to do with blowhard fans. But hey, to each their own. To each their own there with your NBA takes. I wanted to touch on that. People, I get the crazy eyes, but that's my main point, is that you can't, if you have 2 MVPs, you have none. That is my main point. The other NBA thing I wanted to touch on was this whole Stephen Curry mouthpiece incident. So, obviously, they're trailing late in the game. And if I can edit it properly, I'll pull it up on the screen. But, so, Jordan Poole, he ended up getting fined $25,000 just on top of being thrown out of the basketball game. But Jordan Poole takes a bad shot late in the game. And he fired his mouthpiece into the stands after the fact. So, it was about a minute left in the ball game. And Curry is so pissed at the shot from Jordan Poole that he just... And, of course, the Warriors have not been totally outstanding this year. The Warriors barely inside the playoff right now. I think they'd be playing in the... They wouldn't be playing in the playoff. No, they would be playing in the playoff, playing games. But they have the 7 seeds, so they only have to win 1. So he fires his mouthpiece after this bad shot from Jordan Poole into the stands. Play stops. They eject Stephen Curry. And this is the NBA's golden boy. This is why it was so strange to me to see Steph Curry just hum this mouthpiece and show this reaction and him get tossed. Like, we've never really seen this from Stephen Curry by any means, like, to this type of reaction from him. And it was just a poor shot from Poole. You know, it's in a late game where they trailed. And Curry, obviously being Steph Curry, wants that shot. Third ejection in his career. And both other ejections also involved his mouthpiece when he threw it at the courtside seats and he threw it at a referee, allegedly. Again, just throwing the mouthpiece, a big thing for Stephen Curry, just looking for an object, just firing it naturally what's in his hand. But it just seemed kind of strange because you have all this stuff going on with Draymond, you have the struggles, you have the injury of Steph Curry, and there's this continued pressure on this Warriors dynasty, correct? Like, When are they going to collapse? When are we going to see it, or can they continue to compete? They've struggled. Are they going to be able to put it together? And you see something like this, it makes you think, like, what's going on there? But then you see Stephen Curry after the game, waiting for Jordan Poole. They dap it up. They're good. But it's just these little crap. I mean, they were champion. This is a championship basketball team last year. Obviously getting up there in age. Draymond knocking out Poole this year. Poole taking a poor shot. Or in practice, he punched Poole, right? Poor shot from Poole. Something going on with Jordan Poole here. You gotta watch out. There's good-looking woman in the stands. Jordan Poole, man. He just turns into a different dude. Turns into an animal. And there's conspiracy theories on that. I've posted on the show a couple times, I think. Or at least on the Instagram. Man, you got a good-looking women out of them stands, man. Jordan Poole finds a way. Maybe he got the look. He got the look from a female. He took the shot. He did not make it. Stephen Curry clearly unhappy with it. And like I said, this is the NBA's golden boy. You don't really see it much from Stephen Curry. Not much hate for him. It was really strange to see for me. They end up winning. The best part is they end up winning a game. Jordan Poole ends up, hitting a game winner for them later on, and Curry's there to congratulate him. But it was for me. It was so strange to see. I think the Warriors are going to be just fine as long as Steph stays healthy. But it was a strange thing to see from a guy who's considered the NBA's golden boy. Alrighty, folks, it's Championship Sunday. We're down to 4 teams, both winners of the AFC and NFC Championship, going to be heading to the Super Bowl. And a lot of these teams recently, having been in the Bengals were there last year, Chiefs the year before that. Chiefs having beaten the 49ers the last time the 49ers were there. And the Eagles obviously beating the Patriots the last time they were there. So these are some recent teams. Some of these teams look a lot different. The Eagles are really a model of how you should build a football team up with Jalen Hurts on a rookie contract. If you have a young quarterback to build around, you put pieces around him to succeed. And this is where it can get you. The Chiefs did it the same way with a cheap Patrick Mahomes. They have now since rebuilt, and they're in the midst of rebuilding after having no Tyreek Hill. Well, a chance to go back. Bengals, young Joe Burrow, plenty of weapons around him. They built through the draft. The 49ers, the same way, have put together a solid team. They have the last pick in the draft leading the way. So that is how well put together. It is no mistake that in terms of the general managers and how, the fact that these teams were recently there and still there, they are very well run organizations, and they all deserve their own spot. But who do we got? Listen, I haven't seen much on the Eagles 49ers. I think a lot of people are big Brock Purdy fans. I think the heavy favorite Super Bowl right now, I believe, is Bengals Eagles. It's actually the most heavily bet one. So, in terms of percentages and how they put them together, that is the favorite. That is the lock to be the Super Bowl as of this moment. Obviously the injury to Patrick Mahomes, Chiefs favored by 1.5, Philly's favored by 2.5. It's in Philly for the NFC game, and it's at Burrowhead Stadium, according to one of the Cincinnati Bengals players from their presser. Have we forgotten who the Kansas City Chiefs are? I've been heavy on the Bengals, and I'm still going to remain heavy on the Bengals, but it's starting for me. I'm starting to think about it. I'm really starting to think about it. Have we forgotten that this is the team that's been to the AFC Championship 5 years in a row? This is a Super Bowl champion team. This is a Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, Travis Kelce led team. Are we forgetting how good these guys are? Are we really doing that? So strange. They're already they're posting the videos of the cigar smoking from Burrow and Jamar Chase and their dads and all this stuff about I'm him and Joe Burrow this, Joe Burrow that. But are we forgetting how good this Chiefs team is? I mean, how many weapons they have? How just overwhelmingly talented and good they are. I mean, Patrick Mahomes threw for over 5,000 yards this year. You got Pacheco, you got Jerick McKinnon, you got guys that just put together stuff that really make plays for the Chiefs. Why are we forgetting this? It's so strange to me. We've already put the Chiefs to bed. Why? This is a very Mahomes doesn't look like he's limping, and it's all quiet in Kansas City right now. They're just taking this in, right? They're just taking this in, and they're just letting it fuel the fire. the fire's burning, and this is just fuel on it, right? And and at this point, I think the Chiefs might just come out and roll. Like, hearing all this stuff. I mean, just the cigars, the I'm him, the Joe Burrow. I mean, the media is all over the Bengals. Have we forgotten how good this Chiefs team has been? They've had a couple, they played close games throughout the season against some teams they probably should have blown out, but is this really the look right now? We're gonna throw shade at Kansas City, a team that's been this good for so long? I don't know. It doesn't make any sense to me. It really doesn't. Again, we'll look at the Eagles-Niners game now. Brock Purdy, Mr. Irrelevant. So this is a year where Tom Brady wants to go to would love to go to San Francisco, right? It looks like Las Vegas is the favorite of Josh McDaniels, but he'd like to go play for his hometown team, the San Francisco 49ers, and call it a career. Well, and Tom Brady, the 6th-round pick, number 199. Tom Brady might very well have played his last down football in the NFL. And in that year where he finished, we're now going to see, well, how do you top 6th-round pick, the 199, 7 Super Bowl rings? Well, here's a start. Mr. Irrelevant, 3rd-string quarterback, works his way up to starter, wins a Super Bowl in his rookie year. That's a start. I mean, that doesn't quite eclipse that legacy yet, but that sure as hell is a start. And Brock Purdy looks good doing it. He looks comfortable doing it. Brock Purdy does not look like a rookie. I mean, I'm not saying he looks like, an all-pro. He doesn't look like Joe Burrow. Doesn't look like Patrick Mahomes. He doesn't look like Jalen Hurts, but he doesn't look like a rookie. This guy looks composed. This guy looks like a top 15 quarterback in the NFL right now. He's solid. He certainly looks like a quarterback you can win a Super Bowl with, considering the talent that's around him, considering how cheap he's going to be. I mean, the sky is the limit with what they want to do with Brock Purdy. But at least what they can do in this game, I'm not entirely sure, because this Eagles defense looked. I mean, they just dominated the Giants, right? They just dominated the Giants. So, again, that was a Giants team that came in with confidence. They swept them under the rug like that. Snappy of fingers, they were gone. Now the Chiefs, pretty easily dispatched the Jags. Again, that injury to Mahomes, we're not entirely sure yet. Niners very, very, straightforward with with the Cowboys, because just, Cowboys gonna cowboy. And, the Bengals, just throttling the Bills. I mean, how do we... Again, this is tough to pick. I've been very good recently with my picks. But who are we going to go with? I'm going to go Bengals Eagles. I'm going to roll with the public. I think it's going to be Bengals Eagles. So both underdogs. No, the Eagles are favored. Eagles to win and cover, 2.5. And Bengals outright because it's 1.5. So, I mean, they're both close spreads. I expect 2 very entertaining football games this weekend. 3 and 6:30. I expect to see 2 very entertaining football games. Just like I said, very well-run organizations. They've put things together the right way. They didn't sell out like the Rams did. This isn't like a Patriots dynasty type thing. But these are just some very well-run organizations that, while they might not match a dynasty like that ever again, because we're probably not going to see that ever again, what the Patriots are able to do. But these are some very, very strategically, very, very good strategic organizations that have, now put themselves in a position to compete for this trophy consistently. And obviously, you've seen some improvements from young guys, all young quarterbacks. No coincidence there. It's a young man's game right now, considering how you can afford to put weapons around them, and then when you have to pay them and how you work with it. And restructuring, they've obviously had guys restructure. No mistake here that quarterback and weapons have not been a problem. And defense too. I think all these teams get solid defenses. Bengals and Chiefs might not be up there as well, but they do have I think the superior talent around. And the Eagles, on the other hand, they haven't really they haven't had to deal with the Jalen Hurts contract yet, and that's why they were able to build up both sides of the ball. And they are just a wagon of a team. And again, Eagles Bengals. I'm seeing it. Eagles Bengals. Joe Burrow going to go back to a Super Bowl. I think Joe Burrow will go back to Super Bowl and wins it, but it would not surprise me to see Philly win it either. I just don't see Purdy being able to keep it up. He hasn't looked like a rookie yet. It's bound to happen, and I think this Eagles team is going to be the one to do it. How good of a coach Nick Sirianni is, what they've been able to put together here in Philly. I'm just enamored with the success of these teams. Again, any team at this point who wins it would not shock me. I don't know if I want to see a Chiefs 49ers rematch. I think the Chiefs would just win it again. I don't think we're going to see... I don't want to see the Niners go to the Super Bowl because I don't think a rookie quarterback's going to win the Super Bowl. Therefore, I don't want to see them just go there and lose whoever the AFC opponent is. I think all right. I think we're going to rank the Super Bowls that I want to see. So what Super Bowls do I want to see? Bengals Eagles is interesting. Chiefs Eagles I think is the best Super Bowl though. I think if we're going to see the best Super Bowl, Chiefs Eagles would be it. Second, I would say is Bengals Eagles. Bengals 49ers I'd put third, and then 49ers Chiefs rematch I'd put down at the bottom. But that's how I would look at it. That's how I would see it. I'm not, again, it's coin flip at this point with who we're picking here. But Bengals Eagles is what I'm going to roll with. Chiefs Eagles I think would be the number 1 Super Bowl, but the number 2 Super Bowl is going to work for me too in terms of what I think is going to happen too. And who do I think would win that? I think the Bengals would take that. I'm looking at the Bengals as Super Bowl champion. But like I said before, with the Chiefs here, we're not surprised when you see the Chiefs go on and roll because of just, they've been hearing this all week. They've been hearing all this noise and all this Bengals-related noise all week. Like, they're not a talented football team themselves. Like, they have not been consistently successful over the last couple of years and have already made it to the spot and have already won in the spot and have lost the spot. Like, they have all the experience, all the pedigree, and all the talent in the world to just go and run the table again. So I don't understand why everybody's so heavy Bengals. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's Joe Cool. This is what if Tom Brady was the number 1 overall pick, Joe Burrow would be it. Like, this dude's so calm, cool, collected, great in the clutch. But then Patrick Mahomes is a stud too. We're not going to act like he hasn't been his whole career. I mean, we forget that. Like, because Joe Burrow said, I'm him. Everybody wants to jump on that bandwagon now? Okay. Like, you don't like Pat Mahomes' brother? You don't like Pat Mahomes? Listen, Pat Mahomes is an individual. He's fantastic. Let's not forget about that. So that's the game I'm really looking for. I think the more exciting game is going to be the AFC game at 6:30. It should be in that prime spot. I'm expecting the Eagles win over the 49ers. But hey, if a rookie quarterback goes to the Super Bowl, all power to him. I'm rooting for you, pal. Brock Purdy, amazing story. That's what I got for NFL. The last piece, too. Nathaniel Hackett has now become... we're going to transition here. We're going to transition. Nathaniel Hackett here has become what I would consider to be the new Adam Gase. He is the new Adam Gase. Remember how Adam Gase was only getting hired? Well, not only. I mean, okay, Adam, we all know this, right? We all know that Adam Gase was only getting hired because he was Peyton Manning's offensive coordinator when he had the huge record-breaking year. And he bounced around the teams getting hired because that was his quarterback's coach, offensive coordinator, and was in the QBX system. Never panned out. Nathaniel Hackett is just getting gigs at this point. He got fired by the Broncos. Now he's the offensive coordinator for the New York Jets. Based off the fact that you think you can get Aaron Rodgers if you have him. They looked into trying to get Rodgers to the Broncos. Didn't work. Now he's the OC with the Jets. Now all of a sudden, Aaron Rodgers is favored to go to the New York Jets away from the Green Bay Packers. I don't know if this is like the McDaniels effect because McDaniels doesn't really wow me with anything. Hackett doesn't either. Maybe it's because he gives... it's just the relationship they have and the freedom that they get with play calling. I'm not entirely sure. But Nathaniel Hackett, it's looking like he's become the new Adam Gase for me. This dude is hanging on to the Aaron Rodgers connection as the biggest piece of his resume. Like, ooh, you can get Aaron Rodgers? And at this point, do you even want Aaron Rodgers if you're the Jets? I mean, you have everything. You have the defense. You have a lot of playmakers on offense. Garrett Wilson's a dude. But is Aaron Rodgers someone you want to introduce to your franchise? Considering just the negativity that surrounded him and the lack of chemistry and the lack of extra work he's willing to put in with his guys in the offseason. I'm not too sure that's something you want to bring, but that's a conversation for another day. I just wanted to bring up the fact that Nathaniel Hackett is strictly hanging on to the fact that he's just Aaron Rodgers' guy as to why he continues to get these gigs here. As I've been nothing but, I've never been wowed by him once in my life. There's nothing in his scheme. There's nothing in his results that have wowed me. I mean, it's Aaron Rodgers. And then you have one of the worst run organizations teams in the Denver Broncos. What he put together there was an absolute disaster piece in Denver. So that was my thing with Nathaniel Hackett. I was just scratching my head. But as more, I'll grade all the coaching hires as they come through. My Saints getting some draft picks. DeMeco Ryans looks like the favorite of the Texans. Sean Payton's going to go somewhere where I'm going to get some draft picks out of this. Love that. But everybody, thank you for tuning in. Advertising opportunities, guys. Hit me. We get the banner here. I got a couple of them I can add to that. I do ad videos, ad reads. We can talk prices. So if you got any business you're trying to share out there, I'd be more than happy to have a discussion with you in terms of that, in terms of what we can do for advertising and getting your brand out there. Would be more than happy to discuss it. Again, hope everybody liked the backdrop. Sign Mike Allstott, McGregor, Hamilton Porter, the great Hambino, Jerry Maguire, a couple quotes, last shot, Good Will Hunting. I mean, these will rotate. I'll add more. Obviously, we have the banner up at school. Just trying to, I've been adding to the show throughout its years. I've actually been listening to some of my old shows. And actually, if you guys want to see it too, I will react to one of my old shows. I hate my voice in them. I hate everything about them. It just frustrates me. But I'm trying to learn and appreciate what I've done too. So I've just been really happy with the support lately. I've been overjoyed with the consistency that I've been putting into this. So again, everybody, thank you for that. So please be sure to like and subscribe. And if you also comment as well too. And questions for Quinlan, man, send them in through the voicemail or send them in through text. We got 3 to answer right now. I'm looking for a couple more. We're gonna have a really fun show. We're gonna talk our reaction to the championship games, what we think is gonna go on with the Super Bowl, but also a lot about Ryan Quinlan as well as him, the athlete, UMass Lowell lacrosse player, D1 program player, first D1 athlete in the pod. So it's gonna be a fun time with him. It's going to go a lot like the Cam Rogers episode, and the Cam Rogers episode is my favorite I've ever done so far, the second one. So, again, thank you everybody for tuning in. Please be sure to comment, like, and subscribe. It's your boy Rufus.